Hi, Jack Jackway again. Well, by now, I hope you've gone through the seminar, maybe the self-guided tour. Hope you've seen the success stories. And more importantly, I hope you've at least maybe taken one or two beginning courses. But if not, we're going to talk a little bit about that because now I want to focus on really the whole purpose of this doggone thing. And that is to figure out how to best help all you young adults in having an absolutely great career and having AI a part of that. Because I'm afraid if you don't, you won't. In my opinion, every single person that's watching this is going to fit into one of these 6 categories in one way or the other. You're either going to be, we're going to talk about each of these, but a design expert, an implementation expert. You're going to add the technical capability to your degree, either by design or implementation. You might also become a next-gen AI entrepreneur, which I think would be great, and there's a ton of opportunity there. And last but not least, be part of the gig economy and not part of corporate America. We're going to talk about each of these in a second. But let's go through here and just review. Hopefully by now I've convinced you that AI literacy is as essential as computer literacy was when my kids were in college. And that learning is going to give you that competitive edge. Learning AI is going to be necessary, whether you're in college or not, to have that competitive edge. And parents can take the time to learn alongside their kids and understand how AI is and help them shape their education. Earlier, we suggested 2 different ways to go about learning. Here are some more. Some of these were represented in the past seminar, the previous slides. But by going to Google or OpenAI, it's just 2 examples. Each of them have beginning modules. And all you got to do is go on ChatGPT or Gemini or any of the language learning models and ask them. And they'll give you a link and they'll be able to hook you up if you don't want to copy it from here. Or ask them what are better courses to get started. Challenge what's on here. The old guy doesn't know what he's talking about, which he probably doesn't. So take the time because you can't argue with the fact that you need to know this stuff. So I'm begging you, as parents, as young adults, get involved, know this stuff. One of the areas that I think is underrated is how best to use prompting. Let me give you an example of that. If you ask ChatGPT, I'm really interested in crime drama. What's something new that I can watch? It'll come back and tell you Lincoln Lawyer Season 3. Well, Lincoln Lawyer Season 3 was a year and a half ago. The reason for that is by understanding how data is used. Remember we talked about that in the beginning seminar? How data is used, how data is filtered in is important. For example, OpenChatGPT last got its super data, its training, in June of 2024. Unless you say specifically to ChatGPT, please be sure to only analyze the most current data on the web in answering this question. It'll go back to its trained data. How you ask GPT questions, whether to get both sides of the story so it's not filtered, figuring out how to best prompt these language learning models is absolutely essential, no matter which one of these you go through, whether it's designing code and helping you to design code, implement it, how to run your business. Make sure you take the time to learn not just how it works, but how to prompt it, how to properly ask questions with specificity. By the way, there are courses in that. It doesn't look like it's showing up on the slide on my video, but just go to Prompt Engineering for ChatGPT. It's a Vanderbilt University course offered by Coursera, the Google arm of teaching. Or just go on to chat and say, what are the best schools to learn about prompting? I'm telling you, it's more than worth your effort, no matter what you're going to do. And here are some more free AI introductions that I think are the same, but maybe are repetitive to what was on the previous set of charts. I don't know that I sound like a broken record, but everybody else is way ahead of us. They're way ahead, folks. And I'm hopeful that as parents or as kids, you'll accept that fact, you'll learn it, and you'll go get involved. All right, let's talk about these. So there are 6 careers that every one of you are going to be involved with some way or another. Every one of you. Technical design, implementation, expertise to your degree, an entrepreneur, or the gig economy. Very briefly, so remember we talked about here are the elements of artificial intelligence. The data, where's the data come from, private or public? The various aspects of the building the input player to go and scrape the appropriate data, scrape the correct data from those data input models, translate that, and run the secret sauce, for lack of a better term, for how to take all that data and from that create the computations necessary to come out with the output to send it to the agents. All of that requires very sophisticated programming, of which AI can help you, but it's in really high demand. We're talking about companies like OpenAI, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, Grok, you pick them. They are hiring and trying to steal people from other areas, or going to China and India and finding those people who can actually go in and be deep, deep code writers. And these are very valuable jobs. My God, they make a bunch of money. And it's a great career. It's a great career. And employers need specialists to know how to design the data and design these models for them. You can go buy a private label, a ChatGPT model, but then you're going to have to build it to meet your needs, to build your capabilities for how regulations apply to you, how rules apply to you, how you deal with your customers, which leads us to the implementation experts. As I mentioned to you, my daughter's an executive at Citibank, and she always tells me, Dad, there's more need for these people than there are for people to write code. Because everybody is investing in AI. I mean, you see it where it's billions and billions of dollars being spent within corporations to implement and figure out how to make their businesses more AI capable. Now, there are only 2 reasons they're doing that. They either want to grow revenue faster or they want to cut costs. There's no other reason you would do it. People would say, well, it improves customer satisfaction. That drives revenue. It improves customer satisfaction. That cuts costs because you don't have as many returns. You don't have as many issues to deal with. Don't ever kid yourself. All business is always revolved around how do you make more money and how do you save more money. No 2 ways about it. How you implement AI is going to be the formula for how to do that. And within that, so being able to take courses and get certified in how to implement AI is absolutely critical for how this is going to work for you. See down there where it talks about workflow and authentications and action required? In that example we had in the first seminar, all of those are required to know how to make AI work within your company to achieve the objectives that you had when you bought the doggone thing. A number of you are going to go to college. 3.5 million people are going to graduate from high school this year in the United States. Of those, about 2.1 million are going to go to college. Of those 2.1, less than half are going to be able to find a job when they graduate using their degree. Less than half. And that's next year. In 5 years, it's going to be greater. And the people that are going to be able to use their degrees, whether they're in business, engineering, education, liberal arts, healthcare, or the sciences, no matter what they're in, they're going to have AI. And if they don't have AI, their competition for that job will. Many of the colleges are starting to offer these sorts of courses. But the statistics that I've read show that only 60% of the kids in the business school are actually taking additional AI courses. And I can't fathom that. I don't understand why it wouldn't be 100%. I don't understand how you could get a college degree and not have a minor in artificial intelligence, and for that to be required by a college. But it's not. But a parent can. A parent can require that. A kid on their own can recognize, I don't really care what the university's doing. By that, I'm going to go get this. And I hope by now you've heard this over and over and over again. If you don't, it's not going to work for you. It's just not. So anyway, I hope you'll take advantage of some of the courses we're going to talk about here in a second to go and augment whatever degree you're going to get. Certification matters for many of the reasons I just went through. But it's really that last one that's important, how you differentiate yourself. When you go into that job, they're going to be looking for three things. Are you a subject matter? Are you really good at the subject matter that you got your degree in? Do you have AI skills and certifications? And how well can you present yourself? How well can you articulate your thoughts? How well can you demonstrate critical thinking? All of those are important. And the ones that compete the best in all of those are the ones that are going to win the jobs. They have tracks for both design and implementation. And we talked a little bit about why each of those were important just a minute ago. I'm not going to bore you with them again. The following are really organized by design, build, and implement. And what's really required at this part is that you take the time to figure out, and we'll have a little capability at the bottom for which of these courses you might think you want to go after. Like I said, I'm not going to go through each one of these. I've gone to their websites. They all offer about the same thing. They're there for the taking. And unless I screwed up, every one of these are free. I say that. Sometimes the website was unclear, whether it was a training module or whatever. But as I keep going through here, again, for these designing of AI engines, remember we talked about the design of the AI engines are for the hard kind coders, the ones that really get in there and understand the nuances of neural networking and building neural networks and building the tokens and the nodes associated within those neural networks. I want to jump to, again, these pages will be available on the website for you to go and take a look at and try to figure out which ones are meant for you. Implementing AI, a number of, the one that jumped out to me was in the NVIDIA model. And I don't get anything from this. But I would strongly recommend you go and look at the NVIDIA. Frankly, I thought they were pretty far ahead. IBM has quite a bit of work done. If you go to the IBM site and go to web building, you'd be shocked at how much courseware is available from IBM. I'm sorry, I wanted to go back to this. Coursera is the Google model for how you get educated. So from what I've been able to research over the last X number of months on the internet is, if I had to rank them, since nobody's really asking, I would put Coursera from Google first, I'd put IBM second, and OpenChatGPT third, from my perspective. You're not going to go wrong with any one of those three, let alone any of the others for that matter. Again, it boils down to what's the length of term and what's the cost, if any, associated with it. And I wanted to get to this. There's another path. An old friend of mine and I got into a long discussion a long time ago about a company they acquired. It was called Galvanize. I don't know what it's called these days. They're still there. They're a part of the Stride network. And what they are saying is that, look, whether you want to design code, implement code, or maybe even go and start your own business, you can get a less than a year degree, 2-year degree, 1-year degree, and come out of there with an incredibly valuable job. There are companies that are offering degrees, not just certifications, but degrees. So no different than you go and you get a business degree. To get a business degree, you got to take accounting, finance, marketing, management, and then when you're done with all of those, you can get a business degree. Very similar here to what I'll call an AI degree, is where you get a little bit, if not a great deal, depending on your concentration, of design, implementation, integration, for all those things associated with the various aspects of AI. So that if you wanted to go into a deeper dive within a company of any of those, you could. Or better yet, pick out a pathway that allows you to go into one of three areas. We'll talk about that in the next section. The next section focuses on, once your beginning courses are done, once your advanced courses are done, or however far you want to go. Do you want to start your own business? Do you want to go work in a corporation? Or do you want to be part of the gig economy? Imagine, if you will, you got this galvanized degree. And you said to yourself, I am really, really good at implementing AI. I can go and look at any one of the systems that you've got, the standard SAP or finance systems or HR systems, and I can show you how to use AI to make those talk to each other, perform certain actions, and make your company more efficient, generate more revenue or lower cost, or improve your customer experience, which in the end both increases revenue and cuts cost. But I'm not going to go work for a company. I'm going to be my own boss. And I'm going to hire myself out to the highest bidder. IBM may need somebody someday. Citibank may need somebody the next day. Bank of America may need somebody the next day or the next month, the 4-month jobs. And there are capabilities that you have right now to take these kind of degrees and not go work in a corporation, but run your own business. The next section talks about what I think are really great opportunities for young people. It's taking this AI capability that now you've developed, now you've been trained on. And maybe you work for a corporation for a year just to get your feet wet. But you can also just start out by hiring yourself out. Be an Uber driver for AI, but not driving cars. It's implementing AI within businesses. And they don't have to be big businesses. Imagine somebody going to all the small dentist office across in the city you live in. Let's say you live in Phoenix, where I live. I live in Scottsdale. So I go to every dentist office that's in Scottsdale. By the way, I don't do it. I have AI do it for me. AI talks to every dentist office that's here. And AI says, hey, Jack can come in and make your business 10% more efficient by just clicking on this button. That button asks you 5 questions, gives you 5 answers. An email comes to me and says, Jack, ABC Dentist Office is interested in meeting with you. Will you come in and give us a proposal? You go in, give them a proposal, and you go in and do it. AI then will bill them. AI will send them a thank you letter. AI will post your success to various social media companies. It'll post it to LinkedIn. AI will take care of everything for you. All you got to do is learn it. All you got to do is be confident in what you can do. By the way, that's true if you're an electrician. If you're an electrician, you're a plumber. If you have those AI skills that we just talked about up above, in the next section, we're going to talk about how you can use those AI skills and be the highest paid electrician or the highest paid plumber you can be by hiring yourself out where the demand is greatest. There's always a need for a gig economy like workers. You don't have to work for a corporation. And what an exciting time to go do that. What an exciting time. We'll talk about all the nuances of that in the next section. I hope you've enjoyed this part, and I hope you're able to use the resources here to go and investigate how to advance yourself and your degrees and your certifications and your capabilities. Thanks a lot.